The room was stifling with tension. Thick steel walls, cold and sterile, muffled the sound of distant machinery. Inside, the air crackled with nervous energy as Earth's top military officials gathered around the holographic display. General Martinez stood at the head, his grizzled face illuminated by the soft blue glow of the projected Earth, scarred and battered, yet unbroken. The Empire's assassins have already hit 3 colonies in the outer systems, Martinez growled, his voice like gravel underfoot. We are next. They're sending their best to finish us off. Colonel Vasquez, a lean man with sharp features, frowned. And we're supposed to trust a ninja? The word dripped with skepticism. The assembled officers exchanged uneasy glances. Earth's defenses had crumbled against the Galactic Empire's relentless advanced weaponry, planetary bombardments, and tactical genius. Now, their last hope rested on a relic from a distant past, one man against the galaxy's deadliest killers. I've seen what he can do, Martinez snapped, silencing further objections. If anyone can stop these assassins, it's him. As if summoned by the general's words, a flicker of movement caught Vasquez's eye. He turned, only to see a shadow materializing from the corner of the room. The officer stiffened. Kaido stood before them, as if he had always been there. Clad in black armor that blended seamlessly with the darkness, the ninja exuded an aura of controlled menace. His face was hidden behind a mask, but his eyes, cold, calculating, scanned the room with deadly precision. I'll need access to their communications, Kaido said, his voice soft yet commanding. No greeting, no pleasantries. He was already focused on the mission. Martinez nodded. Akira will handle that. A small screen flickered to life at the side of the room, where a young woman with jet black hair tied in a messy bun appeared. She was surrounded by blinking consoles, fingers flying across the keyboards. I'll patch you into the Empire's network, Akira said, her tone quick and efficient. I've been tracking their assassins. They're closer than we thought. Vasquez's skepticism deepened. How do you expect to take on an entire squad of assassins? These aren't mercenaries. They're genetically modified killers. Kaido turned toward him, eyes glinting. By making sure they never see me coming. His confidence was unnerving. He moved like a ghost, each step soundless, his form melding into the shadows as if the darkness itself bent to his will. The officers, men and women hardened by years of war, were struck by how utterly silent the ninja was. In an age of clashing ships and roaring weapons, this was a warrior born of another kind of war, a quiet, deadly one fought in the silence between breaths. The platform is heavily guarded, Akira warned, pulling up schematics on the central screen. Drones, biometric scanners, anti-personnel turrets. You'll have maybe 10 minutes before they realize you're inside. Kaido studied the display, his gaze sharp and unblinking. 10 minutes is all I need. A tension-filled silence settled over the room. Martinez finally broke it, stepping forward. Remember, Kaido, this is more than just a mission. Earth is counting on you. Kaido didn't respond. He didn't need to. His mission wasn't about glory, or even victory. For him, this was personal. The Empire had taken everything from him, his family, his home, and now, he was their shadow. Their reckoning. Without another word, Kaido turned and disappeared into the darkness, leaving the military leaders in stunned silence. The mission had begun, and Earth's fate hung on the blade of a silent warrior. Outside, the cold vastness of space loomed over the planet like a predator circling its prey. The corridor was a maze of shadows and steel, cold air hissing through unseen vents. Kaito crouched silently in the corner of a maintenance shaft, listening to the rhythmic clank of mechanical footsteps approaching. A pair of robotic sentries passed beneath him, their glowing red optics scanning for any sign of intrusion. But Kaido had already slipped into the darkness, invisible to the machines. His breath was steady, controlled. Every movement was calculated, each second of delay measured against the urgency of his mission. The orbital platform was more fortified than expected, with layers of security that would have thwarted even the most advanced infiltration teams. But Kaido wasn't like the others. He thrived in the gaps, where machines couldn't see, where eyes couldn't follow. The calm in his ear buzzed. Kaido, you're inside. I'm monitoring the security feeds, but they're encrypted. I'll keep you updated with what I can break through. Akira's voice was calm, but there was a slight edge to it. Even from her remote station on Earth, she felt the weight of the mission. Understood, Kaido replied, his voice low. He moved forward, slipping between patches of darkness as he made his way toward the core of the platform. Every step brought him closer to the heart of the Empire's assassin squad, but it also brought danger. The central corridor opened into a massive atrium. High above, massive windows framed the emptiness of space. From his vantage point in the shadows, Kaido observed the alien guards stationed along the perimeter, vigilant, armed, and ready. He counted 6 of them. Each wore advanced armor and carried plasma rifles, far superior to anything Earth had. But their true strength wasn't in their weapons, it was their ability to blend seamlessly into their environment, to strike from the shadows as Kaido did. But Kaido wasn't here to fight them head-on. He moved with the quiet precision of a predator stalking prey, his body pressed low to the ground as he circled around the guards. His target was a control console near the far wall, where the assassin's communications hub was located. It was his first step in disrupting their operations. Akira, Kaido whispered. I'm at the terminal. Can you bypass their encryption? There was a pause, followed by rapid keystrokes on the other end. Give me a second. Okay, I'm in. I'll disable the cameras for 60 seconds, but after that, they'll know something's wrong. Kaido didn't hesitate. He darted from the shadows, his movements impossibly fast, fingers dancing over the terminal's interface. The alien script flashed across the screen, but thanks to Akira's hacking skills, the data translated in real time. Within moments, Kaido had access to their network. They've set a trap, Kaido murmured. They're not just targeting Earth's leaders, they've infiltrated key installations back home. They're planning to hit us from the inside. Akira's sharp intake of breath was audible through the calm. How soon? Kaito's fingers flew across the keyboard. Within the next 12 hours. If I don't stop them here, it won't matter how many defenses we have on Earth. His task complete, Kaido withdrew a data spike from his belt and jammed it into the console, triggering a loop in the communications system. It would give Earth a few extra hours to prepare, but only if Kaido could eliminate the assassins before they realized the sabotage. He moved back into the shadows, just as the security systems blinked back online. A moment later, one of the guards noticed the terminal's display flashing erratically. The alien barked an order in a language Kaido didn't understand, but the intent was clear, they knew something was wrong. Kaido! Akira's voice crackled in his ear. They're coming your way. Kaito's heartbeat slowed. He pressed his back to the cold metal wall, disappearing into the gloom as 2 of the assassins approached. Their footsteps were slow and deliberate, as if sensing his presence but unsure of his exact location. As the first assassin passed by, Kaido struck. A flash of steel, the briefest whisper of air, and the alien fell to the floor, lifeless. Before the second assassin could react, Kaido was behind him, driving his blade into the creature's spine. The guard crumpled without a sound. Kaido remained motionless, listening for any signs of alarm. None came. The remaining guards hadn't noticed the disappearance of their comrades, yet. Kaido! Akira's voice came through again, more urgent this time. I'm detecting more movement, reinforcements inbound. You've got maybe 2 minutes before they converge on your position. Kaido glanced at the terminal. His sabotage had bought Earth some time, but not much. The assassins would soon realize they'd been compromised, and the window for success was shrinking rapidly. Then I'll have to be faster, Kaido whispered, vanishing once again into the shadows, his path now set on the heart of the assassin squad. The mission had only just begun. Kaido moved like a whisper through the belly of the orbital platform, each step a calculated glide. His mind was sharp, honed for the moment he knew was inevitable, the final confrontation with the Empire's elite assassins. His body, a weapon forged from years of relentless training, was as still as the shadows themselves. Every second, Every breath was measured, for he was now within striking distance of his true target, the squad leader. The corridor ahead narrowed into a reinforced security door. Beyond it, the heart of the platform pulsed with the Empire's dark intentions. Here, their assassins coordinated strikes, issued orders, and executed their plans. The last remnants of Earth's defenses depended on this moment. Kaido crouched by the door, eyes narrowing as his hand hovered over a concealed access panel. "Akira, I need you to clear this lock," Kaido whispered into his comm. "I'm working on it." Akira's voice came through, laced with urgency. The soft hum of her fingers flying over the keys buzzed in the background. "This one's tougher. They've doubled their encryption layers." Kaito's gaze flicked between the hallway behind him and the door ahead. His senses stretched to the edge of his perception. Every sound, no matter how subtle, could mean the difference between life and death. "Got it," Akira announced just as the door slid open with a quiet hiss. Kaido slipped through, the air growing cooler as the large control room came into view. Banks of alien technology lined the walls, their screens flickering with real-time data from the Empire's operations across the galaxy. At the center of it all, a tall figure stood, watching the flow of information with a calm that sent a chill down Kaido's spine. The leader of the assassin squad was unlike the others. He radiated a presence Kaido had only felt once before, back when the Empire first raised his home, when he had witnessed the death of his clan at the hands of the Empire's merciless forces. This assassin was different, standing with a stillness that only a master of death could possess. Kaito's hand tightened around his blade's hilt. Every nerve screamed at him to strike, but he knew better. He couldn't afford to act rashly. His enemy was expecting him. "Come out, Shadow Warrior!" The assassin leader's voice echoed through the room, deep and cold. "I've been waiting for you." Kaido's muscles tensed, but he stepped forward, allowing the dim light to reveal his presence. The assassin leader turned, a slow, deliberate motion that revealed the alien's stark, angular features. His eyes, black and unblinking, locked onto Kaido with an intensity that could freeze the heart of lesser men. "I've heard much about you, Kaido," the leader said, his voice smooth but dripping with menace. "The last of your kind, a relic of a broken earth, sent to fight against the inevitable." Kaito remained silent, his grip firm on his blade as he surveyed the room, calculating every possible move, every escape route, every advantage. "I've watched you," the leader continued, stepping down from the raised platform. "You move like us, strike like us. You are more than human, but still human nonetheless." "You talk too much," Kaido said flatly, his voice carrying a deadly edge. "I didn't come here to listen to a speech." The leader smiled, a cold, hollow expression. "No, you came here to die." In a blur of motion, the assassin leader lunged. Kaido's blade was already out, intercepting the attack with a sharp clash of steel against alien alloy. The room erupted in the deadly dance of two masters, each strike calculated, each parry precise. Kaido's senses sharpened to their limit, his body moving in perfect harmony with the rhythm of the fight. The sound of blades cutting through the air filled the room as they traded blows with lightning speed. The assassin leader moved with inhuman fluidity, his strikes powerful and relentless, yet Kaito never faltered. Years of discipline, of mastering the art of the silent kill, had prepared him for this moment. He anticipated each strike, each feint, his body instinctively shifting to counter. But the leader was faster, stronger. A sudden, forceful strike sent Kaito reeling backward, his feet sliding across the smooth floor. The leader advanced, eyes gleaming with victory. Kaito's breath came hard, but his grip remained tight on his blade. "Your world will burn," the leader said softly, his voice barely audible over the hum of the technology around them. "Just like your clan." Something inside Kaito snapped. The cold calm that had carried him this far dissolved into a fierce resolve. With a battle cry that shook the room, he surged forward, his blade flashing through the air with newfound fury. The leader was taken aback, his defense faltering as Kaito unleashed a flurry of attacks, faster, harder, relentless. Blow after blow, Kaito pushed the assassin back, his every move driven by a single thought: vengeance. With one final strike, Kaido's blade cut through the leader's guard, driving deep into his chest. The alien's eyes widened in shock, and for the first time, Kaido saw fear in them. The leader crumpled to the floor, gasping as dark blood pooled beneath him. Kaido stood over the dying alien, his breath steadying as he wiped the blood from his blade. "This is for Earth," he whispered, sheathing the weapon. "Kaido!" Akira's voice crackled through the calm, breaking the heavy silence. "You did it! Earth's safe, for now." But as Kaido looked down at the fallen leader, a new realization gripped him. The Empire wouldn't stop with just one failed mission. This was only the beginning. "I know," Kaito replied quietly, his gaze fixed on the distant stars beyond the platform's windows. "And I'll be ready for what comes next." The fight was over, but the war had just begun. Kaito stood over the fallen assassin leader, his chest heaving, the weight of his victory mingling with the remnants of adrenaline coursing through his veins. But victory was a fleeting notion. The shadows lurking beyond the control room beckoned with fresh danger. The hum of machinery filled the silence, each mechanical pulse a reminder that the Empire was far from defeated. "Are you all right?" Akira's voice broke through the haze of exhaustion, filled with concern. Kaito nodded, though doubt lingered in the back of his mind. "For now. But this isn't over. We need to regroup." "Right. I'm rerouting power to the emergency beacon," Akira replied, her tone shifting to businesslike efficiency. "We can't risk leaving this place vulnerable." Kaito surveyed the room, the blinking screens now displaying alerts of impending threats. The assassin squad had been powerful, but their leader's defeat would not quell the Empire's hunger for dominance. With every passing second, he could feel their presence drawing closer. "I'll cover you," Kaito said, shifting his gaze toward the entryway. "They'll be coming. I'll hold them off as long as I can." "Are you insane?" Akira snapped, her voice sharp enough to cut through the tension. "You can't take them all on by yourself." "There's no other choice. The beacon needs to transmit," Kaito insisted, moving to the side of the room where shadows deepened. He crouched low, readying himself for the inevitable confrontation. "You've got to get it working." Akira hesitated, her fingers frozen over the console. "You're putting your life on the line for a chance. We can't lose you, Kaito." He glanced back at her, the weight of his decision pressing heavily on his heart. "I won't lose this fight. Not again. Trust me." With a reluctant nod, Akira turned back to her work. The sounds of her fingers tapping against the console were drowned out by the low rumble of approaching boots echoing down the corridor. Kaito's pulse quickened as shadows flickered at the edge of his vision. Suddenly, the door burst open, revealing a squad of Empire soldiers, clad in sleek, dark armor that gleamed under the flickering lights. Kaito's instincts kicked in, and he launched himself into the fray, his blade flashing as he engaged the first soldier. The room exploded into chaos. Kaito danced between blows, his movements a blend of elegance and lethal efficiency. He parried strikes, his blade meeting steel with a satisfying clang, his heart racing as adrenaline surged. The Empire soldiers fought with ruthless precision, but Kaito was fueled by something deeper, a burning resolve to protect his home. "Status?" he shouted over the clamor, keeping his focus on the battle. "Working on it," Akira called back, her voice strained. "Just a few more seconds." Kaito felt a swell of frustration. Seconds were all he had left. With a deep breath, he redirected his focus, launching into a series of calculated strikes that carved through the enemy ranks. The first soldier fell, and the second met a similar fate, but the remaining soldiers pressed in, undeterred. He spotted one soldier flanking from the left, moving in for a decisive strike. Kaito pivoted, anticipating the attack, and struck out, but the soldier was quicker, ducking under his swing. The sound of a blaster charging filled the air. "Look out!" Akira yelled, but it was too late. A blinding flash erupted in front of Kaito as the soldier fired. He felt the heat sear past him, narrowly escaping. The blast ricocheted off the wall, sending sparks flying. Kaito regained his footing and turned, lunging at the soldier who had just tried to shoot him, disarming him with a swift motion. "Get to the beacon!" he barked, pushing the soldier to the ground. "Now!" The chaos continued to whirl around him as he threw himself back into the fight, his senses sharp, adrenaline flowing. He was on the brink of exhaustion, each swing of his blade feeling heavier, but he pushed through. He could see Akira in his peripheral vision, still working feverishly at the console, determination etched on her face. Finally, he felt a change in the atmosphere. The soldiers hesitated, glancing at each other as they regrouped. "They're scared," Kaito realized, heart pounding. "Good." With renewed vigor, he roared a challenge. "Is this all you've got? Come and get me!" The soldiers surged forward, their numbers overwhelming, but Kaito moved like a storm, a whirlwind of calculated strikes. He fought with everything he had, knowing that he was not just fighting for his life, but for Earth's survival. But just as hopes surged, a heavy thud reverberated through the room. A larger figure emerged from the shadows, an elite commander of the Empire, his armor dark and imposing. Kaito's heart sank. This was not just any soldier, this was a seasoned warrior, one who thrived on fear. "Foolish human!" the commander growled, his voice dripping with contempt. "You think you can defy the Empire?" "I don't think," Kaito replied, his voice steady despite the danger. "I know." With a quick motion, Kaito pushed back against the wave of soldiers, taking a step toward the commander. The room felt charged, the air thick with tension. Kaito and the commander locked eyes, a silent battle of wills sparking between them. "I'll make this quick," the commander sneered, lunging forward. Kaito sidestepped just in time, the commander's blades slicing through the air where he had stood moments before. The clash of their blades reverberated in the room, creating a fierce rhythm as they engaged. Kaito could feel the weight of the fight bearing down on him, each clash pushing him closer to his limits. "Akira, how's that beacon?" Kaito grunted as he struggled against the commander's relentless assault. "Almost, just a little more," she shouted, her voice strained but resolute. "Hold them off!" Kaito's determination surged. He poured every ounce of his being into each movement, countering strikes and finding openings. The commander was relentless, but Kaito's spirit burned brighter, a flame fueled by every loss he had endured. Finally, Kaito saw an opening. With a powerful twist of his body, he sidestepped the commander's strike and countered with a swift, calculated blow that struck the commander's side. The elite warrior staggered back, momentarily taken aback. "Now, Kaito!" Akira shouted, her voice ringing with urgency. Kaito seized the moment, charging forward with all his strength. He aimed for the commander's heart, his blade glinting in the dim light. The commander, realizing too late, raised his blade to deflect, but Kaito was faster. With a surge of power, he drove his blade through the commander's armor. The room fell silent for a heartbeat as the commander's eyes widened in shock. Kaito pulled back, watching as the elite warrior crumpled to the ground, defeated. "Beacon activated!" Akira announced, her voice breaking through the silence like a beacon of hope. As the emergency signal pulsed out into the vastness of space, Kaito felt a rush of relief. But that relief was short-lived. The remaining soldiers looked to each other in shock, their resolve shattering like glass. "Fall back!" one soldier shouted, scrambling to retreat. Kaito glanced at Akira, their eyes meeting in a moment of shared understanding. "We did it!" he breathed, a mixture of disbelief and exhilaration coursing through him. But they both knew this was merely a battle in a larger war. The Empire would not stop here, but they had struck a blow, a spark ignited against the darkness. "Let's get to the shuttle," Kaito urged, grabbing Akira's arm. As they made their way out of the control room, the emergency alarms blaring behind them, Kaito couldn't shake the feeling that the fight for Earth, and for humanity, had only just begun. And with every step they took, he felt a growing determination within him. They were not merely surviving, they were fighting back. Together, they would stand against the Empire, refusing to be mere pawns in a game where the stakes were nothing less than existence itself. "Earth's not done yet," Kaito murmured, his voice steady with conviction. "Not while we're still standing."